In the future, tech genius Ken Castle created a game called Slayer, merging video games and reality TV, where incarcerated individuals fight for survival, drawing millions of online viewers. The movie starts a few years from today. It shows advertisements on buildings, walls, and bus stops for a popular game called Slayers. The main character in the game, Cable, has only 4 fights left before he can be free. Next, we see a huge gun battle happening inside a factory. All the game's characters are being controlled by real people from different places. Players earn points for each opponent they defeat or when they rescue a team member. Some characters are seen doing simple tasks on the battlefield, not paying attention to the chaos around them. A 17-year-old named Simon is in control of Cable, guiding him through the factory. Cable fights his way out, and despite being knocked out of the factory, he reaches a safe area to win the battle. After the fight, the characters who survived are moved to another location. The other characters praise Cable for his victory, as he now has only 3 fights left until he's free. However, some are skeptical that anyone can actually be released from the game. Bob, the producer and chief of staff for the Gina Parker Smith Show, talks about their next show's guest, Ken Castle, a brilliant but reclusive creator of Slayers. During the show, Gina highlights Ken Castle's accomplishments. He initially developed a game called Society, which is similar to the Sims game, but instead of controlling fictional characters, players control real people and can make them do anything. People can pay to control someone or get paid to be controlled. Society became incredibly famous and profitable quickly, making Castle the wealthiest person in the world, surpassing Bill Gates overnight. 9 months prior, Castle launched Slayers, a game that sparked controversy but received support from the government. Castle argues that Slayers characters, though real people, are death row inmates who opted to join the game instead of serving their sentences. A convict who survives 30 battles can earn their freedom, although no one has yet to achieve this. Some inmates are placed in battles with predetermined actions and can be freed if they survive a single battle, but their chances of survival are slim due to their inability to defend themselves. The games are broadcasted on pay-per-view, and all participants in Slayers and Society have nanocells in their brains, allowing them to be controlled by others. This control only lasts within the game's boundaries, meaning they regain control after the game ends. After the show ends, the broadcast is interrupted by Humans, a group opposing the game. The Humans group openly criticizes Castle, warning that if we keep going down this path, we'll all end up under his control. Castle finds this amusing and orders his team to find out where the broadcast originated. In jail, an inmate kills a guard and attempts an escape, but ultimately fails. Cable sits alone, lost in thoughts about his family. Freak joins him, commenting on how Cable's solitary demeanor unnerves everyone. He's surprised Cable is so close to winning his freedom, with just 3 fights left. Freak questions Cable about his reason for imprisonment. Cable recalls a moment of a man bleeding in a room. Later, in his cell, someone slides a photo of his wife and child through the door slot, acknowledging they're his reason to fight. She requests Cable's autograph for her son, taking his blood as a mark of authenticity to increase the autograph's value. Meanwhile, Cable's wife Angie works as a character in Society, where she and other characters are dressed in outlandish, revealing outfits. She's controlled by an overweight man named Gorge, who makes her interact with a man wearing a pig nose, who then harasses Angie. However, Angie's focus shifts to a banner of Cable across the street. Suddenly, the Humans hack into Society, further denouncing Castle. Castle watches a news report about the hack, which temporarily shut down the game, costing him billions, but he dismisses the loss as insignificant. The Slayers convicts are moved to their next battleground. Sandra introduces herself to Cable, but the guards enforce silence with violence. The convicts enter the ruined city battlefield, equipped with guns and armor. As the game starts, a fierce gunfight erupts, with casualties mounting. Cable notices a female convict programmed to walk into the street amid the chaos. Simon directs Cable to save her, but she's hit by another vehicle. Sandra saves Cable from an attacker, but is killed shortly after. Simon helps Cable navigate through the violence to win the battle, earning global acclaim for his victory. On the transport back, a surviving convict panics, desperate to escape, questioning who controls them in battle. Simon prepares a sandwich and uses the points he earned from the game to buy an ammunition upgrade for Cable. While chatting with several girls online, a pair of twins show themselves to him and propose a trade of money for the chance to control Cable, which Simon turns down. Suddenly, the humans hack into his feed, showing him a clip of Cable executing a man. They offer to connect Simon directly with Cable. At the same time, Castle plans to bring Hackman into the Slayers game, with no intentions of letting Cable win his freedom, even if he survives 2 more battles. Hackman, who will not be under anyone's control, is introduced to specifically target Cable. Another convict, frustrated with being manipulated, attempts to remove the nanocells from his brain and dies. Freak warns Cable about Hackman, mentioning his voluntary imprisonment after committing a crime. Cable then practices shooting with the new ammo. He expresses his discomfort with being controlled due to the lag between player commands and character actions. Hackman, with blood-stained hands from a recent kill, threatens Cable in the locker room, vowing to eliminate him and his family. During the upcoming battle, Simon reveals to Cable that he's installed a modification that allows them to communicate. Cable notices Freak is predestined to be a sweeper on the battlefield and inevitably gets killed in the action. Simon shows no empathy for the losses, even as Cable tries to remind him that these are real people. Simon directs Cable to search an empty parking structure, cautioning him as they near the game's boundary. A missile forces Cable away from the edge. Hackman then confronts and nearly defeats Cable, but the game times out, deactivating Hackman's weapon. As Hackman is taken away, Cable suggests to Simon that his only chance to win is to be set free from control. Angie attempts to regain custody of her daughter but faces mockery from the caseworker, who doubts the child's well-being with her parents. Despite Angie's assurance, her request is denied, and she learns her daughter has been placed with a wealthy family. Simon invests in upgraded armor for Cable, but his feed is again hacked by the humans. They implore Simon to heed Cable's advice for freedom, stressing that Castle will never let Cable live. Simon understands that allowing Cable to control himself would break the rules. Yet, Brother persuades Simon to assist Cable. In his cell, the woman who previously collected Cable's autograph and blood informs him that Simon will enable him to control his own actions, and he must flee his last battle to reunite with his family. Cable requests alcohol to prepare himself. As he gears up for the final fight, Cable discovers vodka in his gear and drinks it all. On the battlefield, a drunk Cable struggles to maintain balance, while Simon, watching with frustration, urges him to get it together to survive. Cable heads to a parking garage and vomits into a truck's ethanol fuel tank. Attempting to escape, Cable confronts Hackman clinging to the truck. Cable manages to defeat Hackman, sending him crashing. Pursued by guards, Cable eliminates them, causing their vehicles to collide. He breaches the game's boundary and escapes the truck just as a rocket hits, throwing him away. The game's live feed cuts off, leading everyone to assume Cable's death. However, Gina suspects Cable will attempt to find Angie. Meanwhile, Cable visits Angie's apartment, only to meet Trace from Humans, the woman from prison. They head to Humans' base. Cable learns his blood was used to decrypt his nanocode, enabling Simon's communication and Humans' eavesdropping. Humans reveals Castle fears Cable's freedom and assisted his escape, aiming to use Cable to defeat Castle, who threatens to enslave everyone. Cable's only interest is reuniting with Angie, which Humans promises to facilitate. Gina tracks Angie in society controlled by Gorge. Angie is taken to a bar to meet Rick Rape, a notorious character. They proceed to a hotel, where Rick aggressively pursues Angie. Just before Rick can assault her, Cable intervenes, fatally injuring Rick. Cable attempts to free Angie from Gorge's control without success. As they try to leave, Hackman appears, shooting Cable and sending him into a room filled with various SM activities. Cable, protected by his armor, rushes down the stairs. Inside the elevator, 2 characters from society start kissing, and Gorge instructs Hackman to eliminate them, which he does with enjoyment, while Angie looks on in fear. Once the elevator doors open, Cable confronts Hackman, eventually shooting off Hackman's foot during the struggle. Castle's security forces arrive, sparking a gunfight with Cable. Cable communicates with Gorge for directions, and Angie guides him to a rave crowded with society's characters. The security team pursues them, leading to another exchange of gunfire, during which bystanders are caught in the line of fire. Escaping outside, Gina arrives in her van, offering Cable assistance, which he accepts. Simultaneously, Simon faces questioning by Agent Keith, who informs him of an investigation into his computer and files, pressing for details on Cable's escape from Slayers. Gina drives them to Humans' base to aid Angie, although they're unable to remove her brain's nanocells. Instead, they administer a treatment to prevent further control. Brother reveals to Cable that he and Scotch were the initial test subjects for Castle's nanotechnology, which later resurfaced with Society. Brother is curious about the project's specifics, which Castle has tried to erase. Castle's men, under the guise of tech support, invade Gorge's home. Meanwhile, Humans delve into Cable's past experiences, uncovering that Castle manipulated Cable into killing Scotch. Angie awakens, sharing her failed attempt to prevent their daughter's government removal. They learn from Trace that Castle has adopted their child. Driven by anger, Cable sets out to retrieve his daughter, dismissing Gina's attempts to accompany him. Gina notices Castle's men storming the Humans' base. After his interrogation, Simon returns home to find a flood of negative emails. Castle anticipates Cable's imminent confrontation. Cable makes his way into Castle's mansion and spots his daughter in a room. Rushing towards her, he finds out he can't get through, it's just a projection on a screen, a trick by Castle showcasing his newest creation. Cable then encounters Castle, who is making a group of people perform complex dance routines under his control. Cable manages to defeat all the guards in his path. When Cable confronts Castle, Castle uses his daughter as leverage, revealing he's attacked the Humans' base and killed everyone there. He also shares that he has nanocells in his brain, but unlike others who are receivers, his nanocells can transmit, allowing him to control anyone with just his thoughts. His ambition is to dominate the world through this control. Castle takes Cable to a basketball court, where Hackman, now with a prosthetic foot, attacks Cable under Castle's command. Cable overpowers Hackman, breaking his arm and ultimately killing him. Attempting to turn the knife on Castle, Cable finds himself unable to, as Castle uses his control to stop Cable's actions. Gina managed to share Cable's nanocode globally, showing everyone what he's experiencing. Under Castle's manipulation, Cable is forced to cut his own leg and is beaten by Castle as spectators worldwide watch the ordeal. Castle then commands Cable to attack his own daughter with the knife. However, Cable resists, embedding the knife into the ground, seizing it back, and aiming it at Castle. Simon manages to regain control over Cable, aiding him in the struggle against Castle's influence. In a pivotal moment, Cable challenges Castle to think about being stabbed, which, due to Castle's own technology, allows Cable to stab and kill him. The world celebrates Castle's fall. Following Castle's defeat, Cable has the technicians disable the nanocells, liberating everyone from control. Then Cable, Angie and their daughter leave, finally free. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe. If you enjoy content like this also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.